Nii, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's just get your view on the market going forward, because this 1,000-point mark for the overall GSE Composite Index appears to be such a magnetic one, and the market hasn't really broken out in any one direction from that. Do we need to read into that, or is it very much based on individual stock price movements?
Basically things are going sideways for now because there's no real news that is coming out for the markets to move the counters up. And in the most recent weeks, we had counters such as Goyle and Guinness Ghana Breweries being the most active because they were perceived to be the most undervalued companies on the market at the time. But currently speaking, there seems to be a standoff between block buyers and sellers. They are just not agreeing on a price, and that is more or less the reason why the market is not really moving in any direction. It's more or less just going sideways.
Interesting that we see divergence between the overall market today and the financial index, financial sector. Is that around Cullbank and the raising of that money, successful raising of the money? Because we saw strong buying into the stock last week. We've seen some buying into the stock this week. Is that fueling a general optimism around the banking sector?
Yes, to some extent. We know that the sector is obviously the most lucrative and the one that there's most activity in, at least on the Ghana Stock Exchange. With reference to Cull, it's always been undervalued, and currently with capital raising that has recently concluded, it's perceived to be a bit more attractive and in a position to take on more larger ticker deals. That said, there are a number of other banks that are yet to meet the minimum stated capital requirements, such as HSC and some other local banks, and so we'll be looking at those ones as well in the coming months.
Yeah, and let's shift focus. One of the smaller penny stocks, as you call it, has managed to raise $20 million in order to fund a new production plant. That's Aluminium Works. Now, the stock is down 61% this year, so of course we've seen a strong sell-off. What are the prospects for Aluminium Works with this new production plant? Are you looking at that filtering into a turnaround in the stock price?
Hopefully, but that would really be a long-term venture for most investors. They have had perennial issues, mostly to do with a lot of imports, cheap imports from China and the rest. But the main bane that they were facing was in terms of power. Because of the irregular power supply in the country, where they get most of their raw materials from, that was from Valco, it's a local aluminium and smelting company. There were issues with that, and as a result of that, it caused their cost to go up because they had to source it from elsewhere. And that problem has largely been solved, but it's going to take a while before that more or less clears from their books. They have very huge interest charges, and to some extent, they can't seem to be getting rid of that. So with reference to this capital raising that they are doing, we are more looking towards an equity option, perhaps a rights issue, and that would hopefully take off some of the heat in terms of the interest charges, and then hopefully we might be seeing a more positive bottom line from Aluminium Works.
We've got time for one last question. I know the GSE has now changed capital requirement rules for local brokerage firms. The capital requirement now at 1 million cedi. Does this have any implications for trade on the local market?
Well, yes. A company that obviously would not be able to do it will be forced to either look for a partner to merge with, or possibly just, bow out of the market. But I think that the motivation behind the regulators doing this is that we rarely have the local brokers underwriting IPOs and other offers that come onto the market. And for that reason, this move to increase it by tenfold would hopefully try and ensure that the primary market is well served anytime new offerings come onto the market.
And of course, I suppose, positioning the market perhaps for those new offerings, which many are hoping to see for the rest of the year. Nii Ampa-Sowa, Head of Research at Databank Financial Services.